People should start talking about diabetes. I believe that diabetes communication has to be made open. Gone are those days when people have diabetes, they will want to keep it to themselves because they don't know how people are going to look at them, how people are going to judge them. Some even feel ashamed to let their family and friends know that they are managing diabetes. No, gone are those days. Now we are living in an era where we have to keep an open communication about diabetes. We have to start talking about diabetes, whether you are managing diabetes or you are supporting or assisting someone in managing his or her diabetes. We all have to start talking about diabetes. We all have to start creating diabetes awareness out there. The moment we all start talking about diabetes, I bet you the number of people with diabetes complications is going to reduce. So I was doing a research on a topic that I was supposed to post today, the 29th of October. I wanted to talk about why Africans struggle to manage their diabetes. And then I came across this point that made me to stop, pause, and think a little bit. I found it very important to make this video so that people who are managing diabetes can start talking about diabetes, because this is a serious problem. Health is something that is private and most people will prefer to keep it to themselves. But nowadays, I want to believe that we are living in an era where we need to start talking about diabetes. When you are struggling with diabetes, you have to start talking about diabetes. People have to be aware of diabetes. People have to know more about diabetes. But before I start talking about why people have to, or why people who are managing diabetes have to start talking about diabetes, I want to believe that people who are managing or struggling with diabetes may not want to talk about diabetes because of the following reasons, such as social stigma, which is something that is really bringing a hindrance into our society. Many people don't want to talk about their diabetes because they feel like if people know that they are struggling with diabetes, people will judge them. It is high time we start talking about diabetes and break this stigma. Some people also feel like it is their fault of having diabetes because according to them, some of them are young, which is often known that diabetes is an illness that is mostly contracted by old people. So for the younger generation to develop diabetes, these people might be shy to talk about diabetes because they think that it is their fault developing this diabetes. We have to break that and start talking about diabetes. Many people need to know about diabetes. Some other people might not want other people to know that they are managing diabetes because they are feared of being judged, or they are feared that people will start pitying for them. We have to start breaking all the stigmas about diabetes and people being judged about diabetes. No, it has to be open. People have to talk about diabetes. When we come up and start talking about diabetes, we will start creating diabetes awareness in our community and the world at large. So one of the reasons why I think that we should start talking more about diabetes is for us to break that stigma. Breaking that stigma is for us to have an open communication about diabetes. Let people know about diabetes. The moment we start talking about diabetes, we will start to break some misconceptions about diabetes. For instance, misconceptions like diabetes is only for the old people, or diabetes is caused by poor diet, or even that diabetes is a rich man's sick. The earlier we start talking about this, the better that people will tend to understand what diabetes is all about, and then we can all be able to manage diabetes effectively. Another reason why we should start talking about diabetes, especially for those who are managing diabetes, is for support. When you start talking about diabetes, when you let others know that you are managing diabetes, at that moment, you might or can be receiving support from your family members, friends, and even well-wishers. People who have you in mind can give you emotional support. People can give you financial support. There are some people that will just be there to talk with you. And talking about your diabetes is also one way of you managing your diabetes, because when you start keeping things inside you, when you are not sharing how you are feeling or how you are coping with diabetes, the burden is all on yourself. But the moment you step out and start talking with people, then your problem or your burden is being shared with those people, which can also help to relieve some stress from you and also the burden of feeling like you are alone. One other important thing when we all start talking about diabetes, especially for people who are managing diabetes, is that the more you talk about diabetes, the more you create diabetes awareness in our community. There are many people out there who are suffering with diabetes, but I want to assure you that these people do not even know that they have diabetes. Why? Because they are not aware of diabetes. Some of them don't even know the symptoms of diabetes. But you that have experience in diabetes, you that have experience in the symptoms of diabetes, the moment you start sharing these symptoms with these people, they will come to a self-realization or awareness about diabetes. The more we have knowledge about diabetes, that is how easy it will be for us to avoid diabetes complications. The moment you start sharing your experience about diabetes, that is how you are going to start raising awareness about diabetes. And this is going to help other people to understand more about diabetes. Do you know that there are some people out there that when you start sharing your experiences to them, those people can even learn from you, and from your experience, those people can also start managing their diabetes effectively. The more we talk about diabetes, the more people get to know more about diabetes. The more people get to know how to start managing their diabetes. The more people get to start feeling free about managing diabetes, even at public places, in schools, in social gatherings. But now it is like a taboo for people to come in the open and talk about diabetes or start managing their diabetes, because they don't know what people are going to talk about them. They don't know how people are going to feel about them. They don't know how people are going to react about them. But if we all come as a community and start talking about diabetes, these people will be open and then they can be able to manage their diabetes. Something also that is very profitable when you are managing diabetes and you start talking about diabetes is that when your family members and friends know that you are a diabetic. Take for example, if you are paying a visit to one of your family members or friends and these persons do not know that you are a diabetic, believe you in me, they will prepare the same food to you that they are eating. They will give you or they will serve you the same food that they are eating, serve you with the same drinks that they are consuming. But then, if they know that you are a diabetic or that you are managing diabetes, I bet you these people will pay attention to the kind of food or to the kind of drinks that they are going to serve you. They will make sure to prepare foods that are healthy for you, foods that will not only provide nutrients to your body, but foods that will help to manage your blood sugar levels and to keep them stable. And that is very important when you are managing diabetes. When you as a diabetic start telling people about how you are managing or coping with diabetes, that is you empowering people on self-management, because those people are going to learn from your experience, and knowing that you are succeeding in what you are doing, you are empowering them also to start doing what you are doing in order for them to cope with their diabetes. Do you know how many people have gone through depression? Do you know how many people are out there going through stress because they are managing diabetes and they don't want people to know about it? The time you start talking about diabetes, the time you start letting people involved in your diabetes, you will start reducing some stress out of your skin. It is high time we start talking about diabetes. You that is managing diabetes, and I as an individual, it is time that we all start talking about diabetes. And for us who are supporting and helping those who are managing diabetes, it is very important for us to give these people the maximum support that they need, because they need our support. They cannot do it by themselves. And I bet you the moment we all stand up and start talking about diabetes, just like people were talking about COVID, just like people are talking about the common cold, talking about malaria, talking about headache, the better we all can put diabetes complications under control. Communications about diabetes have to be made open. Gone are those days when people used to be afraid to talk about diabetes, when people used to think about how are people going to feel about me? What are people going to say? No, forget about that. Stop thinking about what people are going to say about you managing diabetes, and start looking for better means to communicate so that your diabetes can be put under control. Diabetes is just like every other sick out there, and it has to be brought to the public. It is high time we all, whether you are managing diabetes, whether you are not a diabetic, whether you are a healthcare professional, it is time that we all as a community should start talking about diabetes. Let us talk about diabetes so that people can start getting their treatments on time. Most people develop diabetes complications because these people were diagnosed late. But the moment we start talking about diabetes, we will realize that diabetes can be easily put under control. If you are watching this video up to this moment and you found the information helpful, please do not hesitate to give this video a thumbs up, and also share with someone that you consider this video helpful to, and also subscribe to the channel for more diabetes information and tips. Also, watch some of my videos on how you can effectively manage your diabetes. Thank you for watching. Stay well and stay healthy.